Sometimes in life we just suffer. Sometimes it's from being totally withdrawn, or so much stress that we are totally anxious, or so tired that we are totally burnt out. But our current position is not our final destination. No, indeed. There's hope. So whether it's your personal life, your career, your relationship, your business, or your job, we say there's reason to believe again. And we present from Andy's personal development, the breakout room. It's the place for health, happiness, and prosperity. Stay tuned for more. Hey, this is Andy of Andy's Personal Development, and we are currently live in the breakout room. We have a wonderful program for you, and we are thankful that you can join us as we continue to bring the information, the content that brings you to a place of health, happiness, and prosperity. So, without further ado, let us introduce our guest for this episode. His name is Craig Cooke, and he's an author and a consultant for business and energetic practices. He says he has a unique background and story that can inspire and empower listeners, viewers, and of course, anyone who finds the information that he will share useful and inspiring for them. So, without further ado, let's introduce our guest, Craig Cooke. Welcome, Craig.
Thank you, Andy. I'm happy to be here in the breakout room with you. I really like talking about health, happiness, and prosperity. I mean, that's fantastic.
Wonderful. Glad to have you with us, Craig. And we know that we will enjoy the opportunity we have to share wonderful information with our people. So let me begin by asking you maybe the simplest question, because this would be your field of expertise. When we say energetic practices for business success, exactly what do we mean? Give us some details on that, Craig.
Sure. So let's focus on energetic practices first. That's just a general label that I give around working with energy and the practice of working with energy. Let's pause and take even a further step back and energy. What is energy? Great minds of our recent past, Albert Einstein, Nikola Tesla, both of those scientists have said in their own terms, everything is energy, frequency, and vibration.
Right.
They have their own ways of saying it, but essentially that's that.
Mm-hmm.
The way I like to think about it and communicate it to others is that everything is information expressed as energy vibrating at various frequencies. And there's ways to harness this energy to create various outcomes when it comes to our mental and emotional states, even our physical state of being, and then the spirit as well. So cultures from around the world have had their own ways, methods of working with energy throughout the ages. Now, the particular system that I study and focus on comes from China, and it's called Qigong.
Right.
And there's different forms of Qigong. Let's say there's three main branches. There's martial qigong, which I was first exposed to when I studied Chinese kung fu when I was younger, and I still study today, but it's
Mm-hmm.
my first introduction. And then there's medical qigong and spiritual qigong. I came across more of the medical qigong in 2014 while I was running my company, and I was in the midst of going through this big growth spurt, lots of stress, lots of demands, and uh, managing employees, satisfying client needs, dealing with vendors, juggling family life, and I just was in this state of um, out of balance. I was out of balance and off centered with myself mentally and emotionally, and I came across qigong, the medical qigong, and I went to see a gentleman who practiced energy medicine. Let's call it, give it that general label. And he worked with me after about 6 months. I'd see him like once a month for 6 months, and suddenly I felt much more centered and balanced. And at
Mm-hmm.
that time, he said, "Would you like to learn how to do this?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Yes," like without hesitation. Absolutely. I already had the fascination, anyways, from when I had studied Chinese kung fu, so I was familiar with the medical qigong, but just had never met anyone that really did that. So this guy was the real deal. He could do it, and I started studying under him learned under him, practiced under him for 6 years, starting in 2015, and then currently I'm enrolled in a doctorate program for Chinese energy medicine. That's taught by one of the most respected masters there is out there in the world, one of the really prolific author, and it's really with qigong, it's working. What it literally means is energy skill. Qi, energy, and gong is skill. So the skill of working with energy skill. And there's a lot to it, but let's just say it can really help you get centered and better equipped to manage everything that life throws at us, whether it's in your career, running a business, um, or you have a job, or you have family stuff going on. Life is always throwing us sucker punches and surprises, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So it just you get better equipped to manage through that.
Okay. Great. Thank you for sharing, Craig. We really appreciate the passion that you show and the understanding for
Mm.
your place of strength as far as the practice of energetic practices is concerned. Now, what are some of the challenges that people would face in getting to that place? I'm getting a feedback, which I shouldn't. Wow. Hold on a second.
Okay, no problem. Is it static or feedback? Oh, I think you're on mute. Hmm.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm still getting that feedback.
Is it static or like a feedback?
It's like a constant feedback. Every time I say something, I get it coming back to me.
I can put on my headphones if that may
Yeah,
help.
try that and see.
Okay. All right. Sorry for the interruption here.
That's all right. That's all right.
But this is what it's about. We get surprises. We just talked about surprises and sucker punches. So let's just roll with those punches. Okay. Okay. And
Wow.
speakers. And then let me get my
Well,
headphones.
I'm not hearing it anymore as I speak.
Okay. Good. All right. And I can hear you.
And I can hear you as well.
Okay. Great. Okay. So I think we're
Right.
good.
All right. Wonderful. So, as I was saying, what about the challenges that people would have before they can reach the place where you did reach with regards to understanding the power of energetic practices? What are some of the challenges that they could face from time to time that would probably give them an opportunity to realize, yes, they need to do something different and better with regards to business success and life as a whole?
Sure. So I find that one of the most common things people contend with maybe suffer with, if you want to use that term, depending upon the level,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
anxiety. Is anxiety.
Wow.
Yeah, and especially when it comes to running a business,
Mm-hmm.
there's so many different stress points and demands, and there's different things can uh, build up and lead to anxiety. So
Yeah.
there could be fear, for example, fear of making payroll,
Mm.
right? Because there's not enough money. Oh my God, I don't. What am I going to do? And you get kind of frozen with fear. And then it shoots up to the heart, because that's where anxiety is stored, is in the heart center.
Right.
And yeah, that's where people can start to get panic attacks, and it's this
Yeah. Yeah.
vibration that's in the
Yeah.
heart center, and or it could be excessive nervousness.
Mm-hmm.
That nervousness, just constant worry, or we're like, oh my gosh, this is going to happen. Oh, what if this happens? Oh, what if? Constant speculating. And unfortunately, when we speculate, we tend to speculate to the negative.
Mm.
So that worry can build up and then lend itself to anxiety. So that's a big challenge for people. And most of the people that I see that I'm conducting energy sessions with, that's the most common challenge, is anxiety. And
Yeah.
it's due to all the stress and pressures that we have in our lives, contending with all the various aspects of life, personal and professional.
Yeah, I mean, Craig, there's so many things happening in the world, so many challenges that people have to face on a daily basis. And sometimes we just don't have the coping skills. We just don't have that kind of mindset that would look at things through a lens that says, okay, this is not happening necessarily to me, but maybe it's happening for me. And sometimes, like I would tell some of my people, don't see the things that you do in life as chores, but see them as an opportunity to live another moment in life, and see everything that you do as if you're doing it for the first time, like if it's novelty. And sometimes it's hard to do that because of repetition habits
Yeah.
that we
Yes.
constantly observe. So I'm looking at what you're doing with the energetic practices, and I'm thinking, is there some specific thing that they need to do with regards to any technique that they can adopt through the experiences that you have had that would help them to not just change their mindset or their heart set, but to see it through the lens of which they can take their lives to a better level and at least be able to manage the anxiety when it comes?
Yes, absolutely. Great question. Um, Let me back up a bit. I really like what you said there about looking at things as a novelty,
Yeah,
if it's new.
yeah,
Another way I like to frame that up is like, people will say, "Oh, I have to do this. Oh, I have
right,
to do this. Oh, I
right.
have to do this." Well, shift that to, you know what? I get to do this. Oh, I
Mm,
get to. It's similar to what you're talking about, just different words.
right.
But still, through repetition, that, oh, I get to, can then turn back to, oh, I have to. That's just
Yeah,
natural for
yeah,
people, right? Yeah, and this is the thing: having the proper mindset is so important. But one, it's a challenge to keep that going consistently, and two, that's where you need to have some other tools available so you can not utilize just your mind. Having the right mindset is critically important. However, you really need to engage your body. So think of it as like mind, body, spirit, or from a qigong Chinese energy medicine perspective. There's three bodies. There's the physical body, the energy body, and the spirit body. The spirit body could be thought of like our thoughts and emotions, right?
yeah,
Like consciousness.
right.
So you have to engage all three bodies in order to truly get a handle on things for the long term.
All
Um,
right.
yeah. So from a mindset, it's great, but it'll only take you so far for so long. Once you start to engage the entire being, the three bodies, or mind, body, spirit, another way, and a body going through various techniques and practices, then for the long term, you can maintain a proper mindset
Yeah.
and feeling of a natural calm and balance. Now, further to address your question as far as specific techniques, meditation is great, and there's all kinds of different meditations out there. But kind of like the right mindset,
Mm-hmm.
meditation can only by itself get you so far as well.
Right.
It's fantastic, and it's a great tool. But there's something about really getting the body engaged, because
Mm.
a lot of meditations you're just sitting there or you're laying there, and it's great. Again, it's great. It's wonderful, but the body isn't engaged.
All right.
So what qigong does is engages the body. You also have the static meditations, but you have simple movements as well, that engages the body, and then you're engaging the mind through visualizations, and then furthermore you utilize sound, and the
Mm.
sound vibration also has an effect for specific outcomes. So your entire being is engaged through the integration of mind, body, and breath through various movements and breathing and visualization techniques. So, for example, uh, anxiety, it resides in the heart center, and there's specific exercises that are for the heart center that help purge, meaning expel, get rid of any blockages or stagnation that resides in the heart center. Because what happens is when we have these negative experiences or continuous thought patterns that are negative, they cluster up. That energy coalesces and clusters up, and as our emotions build up, the emotions amplify that
Mm.
energy, and it gathers these energetic particles, and they cluster up, and it gets denser and denser and denser, and then it ends up creating some sort of stagnation or blockage of energy flow in the energy body. So what you want to do is you want to disrupt that pattern and break it apart. That's the purging. You break it apart and expel it from the energy body. Um, and there's a whole lot to it, so I'm trying to shorten
Yeah. Yeah. All
it
right.
down. Uh, and then with that, once that's been expelled, it creates space, empty space, and that's when you use visualization. So light, for example. So the color for the heart, you can utilize pink or red, like a bright, vibrant red. Pink is just like a more gentle, softer approach to it. That's the color that's associated with the heart center. So that light fills that empty space that's been created. And through the combination of that visualization, the light and the sound, it creates a regulatory effect. It's purge, tonify, and regulate. Regulate meaning that it helps to balance,
Okay.
maintain balance.
Yeah.
So, and then plus with the movements and the breathing helps create that balance as well. So the sound for the heart is a ha sound. So like HA or HAH, depending on how you want to spell it. So ha, and you when someone projects that at a good volume, it vibrates the heart center. You feel it. You just feel the vibration in there, and you can either have it be a continuous tone, or you can have it be like a descending pitch, where it's
Mm.
ha,
Okay. Okay.
right, and then as when you do the descending pitch, you can end up determining, well, what's my pitch? Because everyone's body is different. We're all unique expressions of the creator. And our body will resonate the fullest in these different energy centers on very specific frequencies, specific pitches. So as you descend and you find, oh, I feel it, that's where I'm vibrating the most here. Then you can take that and say, okay, well, that's the pitch I'm going to resonate at, um, uh, for this particular exercise.
Right. Right.
Right. So it's um, that sound and visualization, the ha sound combined with like pink, and then just a simple movement. The movements are very simple. They just kind of even can be as simple as coming and bringing down the arms, extending it out, coming down at the sides. Very, very simple, gentle, slow movements. And it does wonders.
Wow. Yeah, that's very, very, very interesting information there, Craig. It opened up, a whole new world of possibilities as far as I can see it.
Cool.
And I think it sort of identifies the unique aspect of the energetic practices that you are associated with, and how one can create that opportunity to deal with different levels of anxiety, which sometimes some people really struggle with. So I just
Mhm.
want to play a song here,
Okay.
and this song is basically going to, if I can get it going. So that's the song. And I say that because I want to now go to a place where the term that you use to describe this publication is absolutely unique: business kung fu. Where did that inspiration come from, Craig? And what is the main message that you want people to get out of that publication?
Sure. So, Business Kung Fu, I actually started working on it 12 years ago in
Wow.
2011. Yeah. So, technically 13 years ago. It took me 12 years to finish
Hmm.
the book. Uh, but just to even write a book in the first place, I was inspired as books were my very first passion in life. I was always reading from when I could start to read. I always had a book in front of my face. And at the age of 17 or 18, I thought, oh, I'd like to write a book someday. I didn't know on what, but just the inner desire. So in 2011, as I was running my company, I thought, it's time I start that book. And I thought about it. What am I going to write about? And then it hit me. Oh, I've been applying kung fu to how I run my company, my mindset. I should share that.
Right.
That could be unique and it could really be of value to others because it was a value to me. So I took the principles. So I studied Chinese kung fu from the age of 17 to 25 really intensely. And it actually started as Chinese kung fu, but my instructor's teacher, he created his own school, which incorporated all kinds of different martial arts, which he calls Warriors of the Sun Fighting Arts. Really brilliant man, Harry Costell, that invented this system. My teacher, Lyndon Cleghorn, studied under him. And so I studied that intensely from 17 to 25. And I learned so many great lessons from that. And I took those principles and applied it to running my company, how I structured the company, some philosophical aspects, um, employing discipline. Like discipline is huge. And with martial arts, kung fu literally means disciplined person.
Okay.
Kung,
Okay.
discipline. Yeah.
Yeah.
And fu is like man, or, there's different interpretations, but,
Right. Right.
you know, um, discipline is at the core of it.
Of course.
Yeah. So that's the concept of business kung fu is really a person who is disciplined in their business kung fu, and a way to master your craft. That's I have a couple subtitles. Master your craft. So it's developing that mastery of whatever your business is through a disciplined approach, utilizing a modern strategy and ancient truths combined.
Hmm.
All of that is in the title and subtitle.
Right.
That's
Right.
what it's about.
Wow. Wonderful. So, what kind of responses, Craig, have you gotten with regards to the book? Are there any reviews? I see that you have created an impact on Amazon, but in terms of
Mhm.
feedback from persons who would have read the book, what are they saying to you? What is the responses that you are getting from the publication?
Yeah, it's getting a really fantastic response. I mean, I
Hmm.
thought I wrote a good book. Just
Right.
I was confident. Like, yeah, I wrote a good book. Like, I really feel it's a value. But as I started talking to people, because I sent out advanced copies to people, and they got back to me, and
Mm-hmm.
then reviews on Amazon,
Yeah.
um, I realized, like, wow, I actually wrote a great book. Yeah,
Okay.
the response was a lot better, and I say that humbly, just based
Mm-hmm.
on the responses I've been
Mm-hmm.
getting. It was more than I expected,
Okay.
and it's really been really great. I'm very grateful and honored just the reaction that I get from people and the feedback they give me. I actually received my first official literary review from or editorial review from a literary organization that I submitted for some book awards. We'll see what happens there. But I got an extremely positive review, and that's great. So I'm going to enter more of those and hopefully get more editorial reviews. But yeah, it's been more than I could have expected. It's great.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you for sharing, and congratulations on receiving that kind of response for the work that
Thank
you've
you.
done, especially since you took about almost 12 years to put it together. I guess
Yeah,
that's a
thank you.
good feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But it's better that I took that time.
Uh huh.
If I would have wrote that book in say 1 year or 2 years, it wouldn't be the book that it is today.
Okay. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, I just over that course of time, the company went through so much of an evolution, and there was so
Mm-hmm.
much more experience gained,
Yeah.
wisdom, that I was able to capture that and include that in the book, where it wouldn't have been there if I would have
Right.
right away.
Yeah. Great thought. Great lens too. Thanks for sharing, Craig.
Yeah, thank you.
So, are you currently involved in any mentoring programs? I know that there are persons that sometimes we see a certain potential in them, and we're thinking, you know what, I can go a little deeper, a little further with this person or this group of people, and they would be able to continue the stuff that I have learned, that I have mastered over the years, at least another vessel to carry it forward. Have you been doing any kind of mentoring in that regard?
Yeah, that's my plan. I'm at the early stages of this whole new chapter in my
Right.
life.
Right.
So I ran that company that I started for 26 years.
Mm-hmm.
I left in 2022. I took the rest of that year off just to relax and decompress and start defining the next chapter. And then early last year is when I kind of announced, hey, this is what I'm doing. And it's two aspects. One is business consulting in areas of marketing, communications, emphasis on digital experiences, brand development, and leadership development.
Okay.
And, okay, and the leadership development is where you're going. However, I need to let me say generate that interest in that or awareness that I'm more available for that. I was working on the book, finishing that up through the course of 2023, and I really wanted to get that done. So that was taking up a lot of my time, along with the clients that I did pick up doing some
Mm-hmm.
consulting work.
Yeah.
Um, and also with the energy medicine practice, I have a constant flow of people that come to see me for the energy work, and I'm still continuing my studies. So I'm juggling a lot right now, but it's all
Wow.
gonna, yeah, it's all gonna slow down. It's all gonna slow down a bit, and then I'll be able to focus on what you're getting at. It's a long
Yeah.
answer to your question. Actually, it's interesting on the energy medicine. I do have clients that come to see me on a repeat basis, and I am working with them in that capacity that ends up being more like a mentor or a guide in a
Mm-hmm.
sense. And it crosses over between personal and business, professional life. So there's aspects of that where I actually am doing that in a way. It's kind of a natural thing with the way I work, with the way I conduct that work. But what I want to do is I want to combine the qigong practice with the professional experience that I have to create something new, a new approach. hence the business success with energetic practices. Uh, Something that's more unique. It was a game changer for me. It helped me tremendously, and I believe it could help a lot of people out there. So I'm at the early stages of it, but
Yeah.
that's definitely a plan and a part of what I'm going to be doing.
Right. Right. Great. Wonderful.
Mhm.
I have said before that there are some people that I have dealt with, and there are certain things that I realize that they are challenged with. One of the things that I have experienced is that most people, Craig, seem to be challenged with clarity.
Mm.
When I say clarity, let me give you an example. I had one individual who came to me and said, I have a business plan. I know what I need to do, but I don't know where to start. I don't know
Mm.
what specific steps to take, but I just know that I want to do business. I want to be independent. I want to work for me. I want to do my own hours. And all of that was good. But what was missing was the actual steps that they needed to take, specific steps that were necessary for them to get into a place where they can actually see the tangible results of beginning the business. What would
Mm.
you say to someone like that in a similar position if they would come to you and they're enthusiastic, everything is there, but basically, what's the first step? What's necessary? What needs to be done?
Yeah, the first step, and it's interesting. The first step is the hardest step to take.
Uh huh.
Yeah, yeah. The journey of 1,000 miles starts with the
Begins.
first step.
That's right.
Yes, right.
That's right.
It begins with the
That's
first
right.
step, and it's the hardest step for people to take. But um, yeah. I tell people you just have to take that step. Once you take the first step, you have to build up the courage because I think a lot of people get stuck in fear.
Mm,
Yeah, like, oh yeah, I have this, and they're enthusiastic, and oh this, but I don't know where to start, blah blah blah, and they kind of get in their own way,
mm-hmm.
and a lot of times we get in our own way based from fear.
Right.
Fear is the enemy. It
Mm-hmm.
holds. It's one of the things that holds most of us back is some aspect of fear. And interestingly enough, fear resides in a couple places in our energetic anatomy, just like we have a physical anatomy, we have an energetic anatomy.
Yeah.
So fear resides in the kidneys,
Hmm.
yeah, and also in the solar plexus chakra. So those are areas where you have to develop that confidence and courage to be bold enough to take that first step. So that's where energetic practices can come in and help to develop those two areas. Uh, but in general, focus is important. I would tell people that, okay, you have an idea, you have some enthusiasm, you got to get over yourself, get over your fear of taking that first step, but you also have to rein in your focus. So, what are some tasks that forget the 100 things that you got to do? Let's narrow it down. What are the first three steps that you need to take? And go and take that first step and then
Right.
quickly take the next two.
Yeah.
Because people, they get spun out by too many things, too many distractions. They need to bring it in and focus. And that will help mitigate the stress and the fear and enable them to take that first step.
Yeah. Great. Thanks for sharing, Craig.
You're welcome.
I'm of the firm belief that we have to find a way to create balance in life. And sometimes that's challenging because of the demands that we have in life, demands that are either created by the ecosystem or demands that we have personally created for ourselves. And I say that because I think that sometimes, as you rightly say, people get in their own way. Now, if we develop bad practices for our business, can that in some way affect our physical health? And I think the answer to that is yes. But how does that create some negative feedback with regards to our personal health? How does the two come together?
That's a great question, and I have a lot to share. Okay. All right. So, two main things.
Yeah.
In my book, I have a what I refer to as the 5 elements of entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
It's a model I created based on 5 element theory that comes from Chinese culture that spans across martial, medical, spiritual, music, just throughout the culture. We could talk about that, but that is all about balance,
Okay.
and we can get into that. But second, when you're out of balance, it could have a drastic impact on your health. And I found that lesson out the hard way. Uh,
Mm.
yeah, I'll share that when I started my company at age 25, and at the age of 25, I was in incredible top shape. I was always practicing martial arts. I was going to the gym, doing strength training, lifting weights, just really great shape. Then when I started my company, I employed discipline, but way too much discipline. I was so obsessive that I was so all in. Um, yeah, I stopped working out. I did it less and less and less and less and less, and just was so all in the business. By the time I was in my mid 30s, I was totally on the opposite side of health. I was overweight, not drastically overweight, but definitely overweight. Um, Not enough sleep.
Mm.
Um, just too much coffee. I never drank
Yeah.
coffee until I was like
Yeah.
age 30, I think.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden I started drinking. Oh, this is kind of good. And
Wow.
oh wow,
Yeah.
and then yeah, it's just bad habits
Mhm.
because I was just so focused on work and just in this type of work, running a company, especially with a digital marketing agency, you're sitting in a chair and we're being a sedentary being, and we're not meant to be that way.
Mhm. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and it takes a drastic toll on your health if you're not active and up and about and not getting enough sleep. That's another thing. I didn't get enough sleep. I'd sleep in the early days. I'd go 3 to 5 hours a night of sleep. I'd wake up. I'd be
Wow.
fine. Yeah, I'd be. Oh, I'm good.
Ooh.
Yeah. And it all catches. So all these different bad habits, because I was so into the business and work, 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 work. Um, I found myself on the opposite side around age 35 of being out of shape, and my health was deteriorating and I didn't know it. So by
Hmm.
the time I hit like my early 40s, I was feeling it and I was like, wow, why am I feeling this way? Like, hitting, my 40s just sucks. Like I was always tired. I would feel like crashing in the afternoon, just burnout. And then when I get home, I eat dinner at night, then on the couch working on the laptop, and all of a sudden I'd fall asleep. I would never do that before.
Wow. Yeah.
I just did not have the energy to last. And then I found out. I finally went to the doctor, um, probably when I was around 45 or so, and I hadn't been to the doctor in probably like 10 years. Like a
Hmm.
typical guy that doesn't
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
go see the
Yeah.
doctor, right? So I took a blood panel, a comprehensive blood panel, and she told me, "Well, I have good news and some not so good news for you." So she went through it all, and she saved the worst news for the end,
Mm-hmm.
the best for last.
Wow.
Yeah, and I found out that I was diagnosed with diabetes.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh no, I'm only 45." Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was just like, "Oh my gosh," and I was like, "All right." That was the serious kick in the butt that I needed to get back on track with the way I used to be. So I said, all right, I want to reverse this. Like it could be reversed, right? She said, yes. And here's some options. I said, I don't want to take any pharmaceutical medicines. I just don't like those. Don't want to do it. She said, okay, that's fine. You can do it. It can be done naturally. It's just
Mm-hmm.
a lifestyle change. And I said, okay, let's do that. So I kicked up my discipline and made it a priority to get healthy again. And now I've reversed diabetes 100% naturally without any pharmaceutical medications. And I'm in such a healthier state of being, mind, body, spirit, through a variety of means and, and methods. I feel like I did again in my 20s. lots of energy, super positive. Yeah, just it's a hard lesson I learned, but something I definitely like to share with people, that you don't have to make that same mistake I did. And I have a saying that I wrote down in my book that I share, that you need to be of service to self so you can be of service to others for a lifetime.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Definitely,
yeah,
definitely,
yeah, yeah.
definitely. It reminded me of, I was spending some time looking at Lisa Nicholas's portfolio. And in one of her sessions, she said the important thing about being able to coach people and share information with them is that we have to find ourselves in a place where we are always filled to the top.
Mm,
But sometimes she says that is not even good enough. And she says there are times when you need for that cup to overflow.
mm,
And you keep the full cup for yourself because you always need to kind of stay on top of your game, so to speak. And that which overflows is what you let the people have. But it's a
mm,
process that you have to be continuously doing. And I remember that when you spoke about the discipline, and especially when you said, if you can't take care of yourself properly, self care, there's no way you can definitely take care of others as well. Wow. I love
yeah.
it. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's
Yes.
especially like you might be able to do it for a short time,
Yeah.
but not for the long term. And like I
Mhm.
said, yeah, be a service to self so you can be a service to others for a lifetime,
Yes. Yes. For
right?
a long time. It's like part of a legacy kind of scenario.
Right.
Wow. Wow.
Hmm.
Wonderful. So, Craig, what the future look like for Craig Cook in terms of your personal achievements, things you want to see that you still need to accomplish? I know that you said you're juggling a lot of stuff, but sometimes we just have this specific end goal in mind, that vision that
Mm.
energizes us. And we know, you know
Yeah.
what? Maybe in a year or 2 or 3 years, I just want to achieve X.
Right. Yeah. Great question. So really, it's about fulfilling my purpose,
Uh huh.
and and getting back to I have a passion for my purpose. I define what my purpose is,
Uh huh.
and that 5 elements of entrepreneurship that I mentioned
Yeah.
earlier, it starts with passion. Maybe
Okay.
if we have time, we could get to that. But um, my purpose moving forward now is really to create things that inspire and empower others to help them fulfill their divine potential.
Wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. So the book is a component of that. I created that book as a tool to help inspire and empower others so that they can go out on their own, and hopefully it helps them fulfill their potential that's been bestowed upon them, upon the creator.
Yeah.
And um, I also see the consulting work that I do mixed in with the energetic practices, working with groups of people that can help fulfill that purpose. I see being able to speaking. I've spoken at conferences before in the past, and through in the context of the digital marketing industry, and
Yeah.
I've done a lot of speaking in the past. But I would like to now be speaking about my book, about the energetic practices that I do, and just everything that I'm working on combining, and be able to use that as a platform to inspire and empower others, and also at some point starting to build a community. I think would be great to again help inspire and empower others based on the energetic practices that I have to share, the business kung fu that I have to share. Yeah, that's what I see in the future.
Yeah. Good. Sounds like something to look forward to, Craig. Appreciate you sharing.
Thank you, thank you. Happy to
Yeah.
share.
Right. We're coming quickly to the end. Wow. They really say time flies when you're having fun or you're enjoying yourself or you're really embracing the moment.
Yes.
When you consider what is happening in the world today, Craig,
Mm.
and you look at it holistically, if you had a megaphone and you could speak to the entire planet, almost 8 billion people, something that you want them to always remember, but also to sort of implement, what would you say to them?
That's a fantastic question. I would say for all of us to remember we are all unique divine expressions of the creator, but we
Hmm.
are one family.
Yeah, yeah,
And
love that.
yeah, and we need to uplift each other to achieve our divine potential of what we can become rather than listen to all the fear and negativity that some people in powers that be want to perpetuate.
Yeah,
Right.
wonderful, wonderful. For me personally, I think it is basically being connected to my purpose and having the opportunity, I think, each day to be the best version of myself
Mm.
and align that with my purpose. And then with humility and true gratitude, just share
Mm.
that with the world.
That's
Eh,
beautiful.
yeah,
That's beautiful. I
yeah,
love it.
yeah. Wonderful. So
Yeah.
we have come to the end of this amazing episode. And Craig, I just want to give you with some help. I think you will see it come up on the screen there. Just let them know how they can make contact with you if they want to get the book or if they want to get you to do some energetic practices for their businesses and their private life, how they can make contact with you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Yep.
And yes, the contact info that's up on the screen. And for people that are just listening, LinkedIn is a great spot to connect with me. LinkedIn.com/in/slash Craig Cook. Also, my website, which is c-squaredpro.io. That's the letter C,
Hmm.
squaredpro.io. And you can actually download the first chapter of my book for free on my website. And in that first chapter, it contains the 5 elements of entrepreneurship that I briefly mentioned. And it's a great thing to get familiar with because it's all about balance and developing your capacity for entrepreneurial success. So I encourage people to go to my site and download that first chapter for free. And there's a form that if people want to contact me, you can just fill that out. I monitor that. And LinkedIn's a good way to message me as well. And you can follow me on the other social channels like Twitter and Instagram and TikTok and so forth. But
Yeah.
to get in touch with me, my website and LinkedIn are the best.
All right. Great. So you heard it, folks. His website and LinkedIn, and you can download a free chapter of that book entitled Business Kung Fu. Truly an intriguing name for a publication, but throughout the course of this episode, I understand why you call it that way. So thank you so much, Craig Cook, for being a wonderful guest. This is Andy of Andy's Personal Development, and together with my guest, Craig Cook, we are thanking you for being a part of this wonderful program. And as we leave, I want to remind you of the watchwords: health, happiness, and prosperity. So, folks, for the time being, just remember how important your story is, and it matters because it is yours. Until next time, so long, Godspeed, God bless, Shalom, Namaste. Bye for now, folks.
All right.
Yeah.
That